YouTube, Warzone tournaments are a waste of money is the topic today, and I'm going to break down everything you need to know about Warzone tournaments, the players, the formats. I think this is going to be a good conversation. Hopefully you'll enjoy. Hopefully you learn something too, because there's a lot that goes into this behind the scenes that I'm going to provide a little insight to. And if you learn something, type down below in the chat or in YouTube comments if you're over there as a YouTube frog. Hey, I learned something new today. Warzone tournaments. Let's start with the context of this conversation. There's been a lot more Warzone tournaments happening recently. We had a big, strong thread of like 100K tournaments a couple months ago, and we basically just seen a bunch of like 5 to 10K tournaments kind of pop up here and there since then. Now, we had Z-Laner's $50,000 tournament, and right before this tournament happened, I posted a thread on Twitter. My original tweet, okay, that started my whole like conversation in my own brain. If you are gonna complain about Warzone 30 rule sets, just don't play in that event. Oh, you still want to play because there's money on the line? Cool, I figured. Current pros specifically playing a lot of events. Tommy, Almond, Noob, Super Evan, Aiden, Rated, Huskers, Unrational, Frozone, Scummin, Iceman, Isaac, Flank, Skullface, Intex, Mutex, Jukies, FIFA, Colors, Picnic. That's supposed to say Picnic Basket and then plus Nick Cool, but I ran out of characters, so I just combined them into one name, which is hilarious. Z-Laner, Destroyed, Clutchbug, Jared FPS, Otter Eyes, Mayapo, Smixy, Queen Shadows Attract, that's spelled wrong, and Z-Smith. Okay, there's more. Phase Blue should have been on that list. There's probably more than that as well. I thought of a few more the other day when I was going to type out a twit longer, but decided not to post it. Okay, I want to clarify what I'm talking about right here, okay? I'm talking, this is setting up a conversation that I'm going to have in the rest of this Twitter thread about Warzone professionals, right, that play tournaments pretty much no matter the prize pool. Okay, Aiden is one of the biggest Warzone content creators / competitors on the platform right now, and he plays in $1,000 tourneys, $1,000 tourneys. There's a reason for that. We're gonna pull up Notepad so we can reference the pad whenever we feel ready for it. Little bit of eye bleach, I'm sorry, but you'll get over it. Warzone tourneys. So pros that play for, I'll just say $1,000. Okay, all of these pros are playing in tournaments for the most part, playing in tournaments that play for like $1,000. Okay, I would say some of these issues like Butex, he doesn't do it quite as much as some of these other players. Queen Shadows doesn't play as many tournaments as some of these other players, but pretty much all of these players are playing in like $1,000 tournaments to like obviously as big as they can get, because they like to compete. We'll get to that in a second. Those are the regulars. Now let's talk about the big money tourney only people. Okay, these are people that are only playing for probably 15 to 20k minimum. All right, so the second set of players. All right, so we'll go 2 categories: pros that play for $1,000 and what we'll call pros that play for $20,000 plus. Those are the 2 categories I'm putting these names into. So the second category is this list right here: Swag, Biffle, Lucky, Repulse, Tfue, Symphony, Teep, Doug is Raw, kind of, Dr. Disrespect, Merc. There's a lot more people on this list, right? Like Tim the Tatman does, like he played in his Z-Laners event. And I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but you get the idea. There's a lot of people that only play in tournaments if they're larger. Okay, this is the tweet that I'm gonna start talking about for a little while. Missing some, but the big rewards piece of this isn't even make sense. What is this? That is worth noting is that the amount of impression the first list brings compared to adding the second list is certainly a large change. Tfue himself brings 10k plus average viewers, which equates to about 100,000 to 80,000 viewers. And Symphony does the same without taking into account anybody else. Dr. Disrespect bringing in 30,000 average, which is somewhere around like 240k every single time he streams, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of impressions that you can garner by getting the second list. However, the top list does everything. And this is supposed to be a longer sentence, but again, Twitter, right, does everything. So this is what I tweeted out, and then I'm going to explain it. The top list does everything. So if you're a tournament organizer and trying to put together an event, you really don't need to spend a lot of money for just about everyone on the first list to play. To be safe, somewhere around 5k. However, to get the second list to play, you need to be spending at least 20k and fit their schedules perfectly. Okay, now here's the conversation to be had. We'll say pros that play for 1,000, and this really could go up to ensure everyone, you're gonna want somewhere around $5,000 at least on the line. And by everyone, I mean this whole list I mentioned earlier, which is the like Aiden, Huskers, Rated, Unrational, Frozen, Scott, blah, blah, blah. You see what I'm saying? Because they like to compete. And then to ensure everyone on the big list, Dr. Disrespect, Tim the Tapman, we're going to set the bar at 50K. Because they all play in Z-Laner's tourney. Obviously, he has to pull, and there were some special circumstances, involved for that. But we'll just say 50K to ensure everyone. These two categories net a ton of differences in terms of eyes on the tournament, okay? Again, Dr. Disrespect, Tfue, Sim, just those three. And we'll throw Tim the Tapman on there. Tim the Tapman, right? You throw these 4 players on there, and you're probably adding, let's see, this is somewhere around, like, let's just say it's on a bad day, 20,000, 10,000, 10,000 is 40,000 plus 30,000. So 70,000 average, 70K average, which is somewhere around 350K. And this is very rough numbers, uniques throughout the day. And this is around 350K unique viewers that can be gained or garnered from putting in a $50,000 prize pool. Okay, that's a lot. That is a lot. That's so much that's worth paying $40,000 for if you do events correctly. 1,000%. However, this is where the big conversation comes into play. Are Warzone tournaments working? Are they a waste of money, etc.? The question is, how do you capitalize on these 350K unique viewers? Now, the people that organized, put all the work in behind Z-Laner's $50,000 event, I'm good friends with. I have some really good conversations with. They're business partners to some degree, friends, colleagues in the space. And they were saying the same thing as me. So when I start talking about Z-Laner's tourney, I'm not saying it was a bad event. I think the event was incredible. But I think there was some missed opportunity basically on the marketing side is where I'm going to be going with this, okay? Now, why do I think these things are a waste of money? We had Z-Laner's $50,000 event. This event had everyone. I mean, Tfue and Sim didn't play, but you had Tim the Tapman and Dr. Disrespect playing together. I think Dr. Disrespect was averaging, right? That was probably around like 40K the whole time. Tim was averaging like 60K the whole time. So this is way higher, like way higher than what I'm even predicting. I'm doing the low side. This event, we're talking a lot. Now, where I'm getting these numbers and where I'm talking like about all of these different things, there is a, oh shoot, what is it called? Esports charts. Here it is. This is a cool little Twitter account. They just put out charts for different events that happen in the esports world, which is really cool because they don't compile the main broadcast. They compile all the major streamers into numbers and then give you peak viewers for like averages across the event. So let me go to the event. They did one for Z-Laner's event. And it was pretty staggering how many viewers were actually watching the event based on peak viewers, based on the people participating. Okay. All right, here we go. Peak viewers on Z-Laner official certified banger Warzone tournament was 209K peak viewers. Okay, I'm gonna pull up these stats. Tim the Tapman peaked at 81K that day. Dr. Disrespect peaked at 65K. Aiden peaked at 19K. All right. So 209 peak viewers on Z-Laner official certified banger tournament. Let's check these stats out. This is super interesting, and it's gonna get to my total point in a moment. Average viewers is 185, 328. Usually you multiply this by 8 or 10 uniques across the board. Let's say it's 10 times. You're then taking this number and moving it by 1 decimal place. Guess what that is? 1.8 million. Hey, my point actually stands. Watching Z-Laner certified banger tournament was like watching Cake Boss that day, okay? That's where I'm going to go with, okay? Now, and Ramos, you're kind of getting to the point that I want to get to, because this is where I'm really kind of slowly providing info to get to my major point. 1.8 million uniques across the entire event. Pretty solid. The problem, we'll go down here and we'll go 1.8 million uniques. Again, this is all kind of rounded numbers, average, thoughts. But these are your usual multiplications. We can even, like, if you want to do conservative, we're still talking about, like a million. We'll do 1.8 to like 1.2, million unique people that saw this event on a streamer's page. Now, here's the issue, right? Couple issues with this tournament, which kind of expands into the entirety of the Warzone tournament scene. Number one, main broadcast issues. And this is the major point for today. No one, and I am being serious when I say this, no one watches the main broadcast. The main broadcast is where casters, analysts, and analysts. Hey, screw that. Well, yep. Analysts and hosts talk. That's the main broadcast, okay? No one watches it. I'm talking, look, Facebook really screwed the pooch. This whole like Z-Laners tournament was on Facebook. They hired, and I talked to other people running it in the background. People that ran it, the admin team is incredible. All of the marketing was not on their shoulders. The marketing was on Facebook's shoulders because it was streamed on facebook.com/gaming. It was streamed on the, that'd be like streaming on Twitch's main page. Okay. It'd be like twitch.tv/Warzone. And it was like its own page. And it was just like, that's the top category on everything, right? And Facebook didn't even tweet it out. They retweeted Z-Laner's tweet, who didn't tweet out where it was being streamed from. So let's talk about the issues with the main broadcast in a general sense and in Z-Laner's event. For Z-Laner's event, no one tweeted, promoted, put in a Discord, anything about where to watch the main broadcast. Okay, as a caster myself, I'm always looking to find the main broadcast so I can watch it and figure out what's going on, right? I had no idea. I spent 30 minutes trying to figure out where the casters were going to be streaming this thing from, because I really wanted to watch the main broadcast. It had Katie Bedford and Chris Puckett as the main casters. So like two of the best casters in the game right now, period. You know, kind of like these Hall of Famers, literally, for in terms of Puckett's name, literally a Hall of Fame caster. I couldn't find it anywhere. I looked for 30 minutes. The only reason I found this event was because Chris Puckett tweeted out the link to the main event on his Twitter post saying we're live and I'm casting. Okay, right? And he tweets out the link, and the link is this. I'll type it in right now. Facebook.com/gaming. I'm pretty sure this is what it was. This is what I get. And then this is what pops up. Now, what didn't pop up? This is what's crazy about this link. This live channel here where they just promo a streamer was not showing the tournament. It was showing Minneapolis Mario Man or some other random person up here. So I get here and I go, okay, now what? So then I'm just like scrolling and I'm like, okay, there's more people down here. I don't know what's going on. So I'm like, okay, do I go over here? Tournaments? Is this where it is? I get to the tournaments. Nope. Create a tournament. No, I don't want to do that. Like, nowhere to be found. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. So this is what happened. It was under /gaming/video, and these are where all the live streams are, but it wasn't on here either. It was on the like main Facebook page. I don't even know how this thing works. Long story short, it was on like the main Facebook page, and then you like go to the main Facebook page and then go over to like the live thing, and you click the little live thing, and then that's where it is. And so I finally found the main broadcast, and I get there and get somebody $50,000 tournament, and we've got all of these statistics in front of you of how many people watched the entire event. Guess how many people were in there for the first hour watching the main broadcast, all the intro work that they were doing, all the graphics, all the team breakdowns, the two of the biggest casters in the game. We had 49 people in there for the first hour or so. And so it did ramp up. We did end up getting to around like, I think they ended up getting to around like 400, maybe 500 at the most through the peak throughout the tournament. But think about it. Would I love 500 viewers? 1,000%. And we're gonna keep doing some stuff with the stream. We're gonna ramp up the stream, and I'm gonna try to get to 500 viewers. 500 viewers for me would be baller. But if I pay $50,000 prize pool, biggest streamers in the game, and this is where it really gets me, right? Think about this. Regardless of prize pool, regardless of how much the tournament costs, regardless of advertisement, revenue or like payback, impressions, hard or soft impressions, which we'll get to, regardless of all of that, Chris Puckett, I'll just do Puckett and Katie Bedford together, their cost to like pay them to cast the event for anywhere between 50 and 500 viewers, you're not even getting your payback on their cost. I'm talking how much it costs to hire Puckett and Katie Bedford. And I'm not going to put necessarily a number on this that's real, because I don't know what their rates are. I know what my rates are, and I know they're more expensive than I am. Their cost makes sense for their quality, right? But to even get the payback on how much they cost, you're looking for, in impressions, somewhere around, for a 5-hour tournament like this, somewhere around like probably $2,000 to $3,000. Okay, I'm just gonna throw that number out there. I'm not gonna fact check it. You don't need to fact check it. It doesn't matter what they actually cost. I'm just gonna put this number out there. This is about what it probably costs to hire them. Just these two casters. And I don't know what Big Baller Brady and Danzro's production group is getting paid for this event. I don't know what their costs are, but let's just say they did it for free. You're trying to get $2,000 to $3,000 payback from the main broadcast. Because here's the thing, I don't care that we had 227,000 peak viewers throughout the entirety of the event. I have to pay these casters for the main broadcast. Is the main broadcast bringing $2,000 to $3,000 of value? No, not to 400 viewers. That's for dang sure. You don't know why? Because the 400 viewers that actually ended up coming, and this is where I get to the major point of all tournaments, viewers that come to the main broadcast right now in Warzone Tourneys are coming for the leaderboard only. You know how we know this? Because anytime you're in a main broadcast chat, this is what everybody's spamming. Exclamation point leaderboard. Where's the leaderboard? Shut up and show the leaderboard. Hey, idiots. Stop talking. That's everyone spams this stuff in the main broadcast chats. Now, you don't know why this is the case? This is a very simple concept that not a lot of people are thinking about. You don't know why? The question becomes, where are the viewers coming from? They're coming from streamer streams, right? Let's just say Anthony, for instance, I saw your message just a second ago. Anthony was hanging out in Iceman Isaac's chat, right? And then came over to the main, didn't even know there was a main broadcast, but let's say for one of Iceman Isaac's other tournaments, maybe I was running it and we had the leaderboard commands all set up and all that stuff, right? You came over from Iceman Isaac's chat to check out the leaderboard, to either go back and watch Ice and tell him where he's at on the leaderboard, because sometimes they rely on chat to like tell them where they're at, or give him the link, right? Or you just want to check it out yourself while he's playing, right? So you come over from the Iceman Exit chat and you have one goal in mind. The goal is, where is the leaderboard? Some events, they have the leaderboard accessible for everybody. Some events, the leaderboard is only shown on the stream, and so everybody's waiting, right? And just waiting for the casters to talk about it. Regardless, the leaderboard has been restricted for most events to the main broadcast in order to there be some semblance of people in there. Every single tournament you've ever watched where the leaderboard is not on the main broadcast and it's distributed to all the streamers, the main broadcast gets astronomically low views. For instance, and I've got a lot of for instances in here because I've done 1,000 tournaments. Boom TV, Rising Stars, I casted, only $5,000 prize pool, but remember, For the $5,000 prize pool, you're getting, remember my tweet earlier? I don't even need to scroll through it because it's way down there. My tweet earlier, we talked about all the players you're getting for $5,000. You're getting everybody. You're getting Aiden, you're getting Rated, you're getting Huskers, you're getting everybody for $5,000. There was big names in this event, and there was a lot of people watching. If you look at the statistics for this event, there was still a ton of people watching the $5,000 event because it had some of the biggest Warzone streamers in it, right? The problem was the leaderboard was distributed to all players because that's how Boom does their things, right? All of the Boom TV tournaments, their leaderboard is on their website. And so there's nobody coming over to the main broadcast. For a $5,000 event with some of the biggest streamers in the game, we averaged somewhere around 180 viewers the whole tournament. And they hired me. And I'm not some big shot in the caster space, but I have, this is my full-time job. So like my hourly rate's pretty high. They hired Bonsai Bros, whose hourly rate's pretty high. They've got like 6 people on production behind the scenes. They had 6 observers and 2 people running scoreboards. So that's 8 people all working on the same event for 180 viewers. There's people that turn on a Logitech camera and have a Booga mic that average way over 180 viewers. This is not worth 180 viewers, right? You see what I'm saying though? Because nobody came to the main broadcast because no one cares. Because, and this is where we're getting to like the meat and potatoes of this whole conversation, right? This is where we get to like, hey, this is what makes sense. How do we make these things worth it? Why are the tournaments not worth it right now? The only people, where are the viewers coming from? The only people who are coming to the main broadcast are people from players' chats. How do we make these events worth anything? You have to get viewers that want to watch the event. I'll put this in asterisks. If you have people wanting to watch the event, they will show up to the main broadcast. How do we get viewers to the event? How is it possible? Now I'm gonna go back to my tweet because I think I did a pretty good job of explaining this in my Twitter thread. Remember this long 2 a.m. Twitter thread? Don't worry, I just gotta scroll through all these banger tweets. You can follow me on Twitter, Grandmaster Gojj. If you don't, you're missing out. If you're a tournament organizer and trying to put together an event, you really don't need to spend a lot of money for everyone on the first list. $5,000, blah blah blah. Okay, here's the major issue. Okay, this is where we get into the meat and potatoes. These impressions usually don't pay back the sponsors the way they want. This marketing investment should only be capitalized on if you're looking for soft impressions, aka brand recognition, and even then it needs to be executed correctly and marketed, which we'll talk about. So what do we do? Problem is this: for more big tourneys and more hype, we have to have people watching the main broadcast. This is what we've been talking about. Right now, there's quite literally no one watching the main broadcast for a myriad of reasons. The main one being the viewers are fans of certain streamers. If you're a fan of a streamer playing in an event, you want to watch them, not everyone else. And well, how much value is the main broadcast providing to the experience? I feel like I provide value with analytical breakdowns and building hype around plays. Don't think most do that. This was, 2 a.m. I'm kind of knocking some other casters that don't do analytical breakdowns and building hype. But I'm just saying, even if they do, even if there's casters out there that provide value, which they certainly do, Chris Bucket, Katie Bedford, I'll even throw Dandro into that conversation. He's a great caster. Bonsai Bros is a great caster. I Hold Shift. There's a lot of great casters out there in Warzone. Even if they provide incredible value through analytical breakdowns and building hype around plays, the viewers that are there don't care because they aren't actively watching. They came for the leaderboard linked, or at the highest level, sometimes when you do these $100,000 tournaments, there's like COD Warzone charm drops. Okay, like what are we talking about? We have to create an environment where people want to watch the main screen. And the question becomes, how do we do that? Activision has to bring us not only all the customization options we want for custom games, right? We talk about this all the time. In-game leaderboard. We talk about circle timings. We talk about guns that you can use, ground loot, blah, 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 blah. All these different things that people want. Most importantly, in my book, and I would want to say, if you understand this concept, right? If you understand this concept, the most important thing they need to bring to Warzone to extend the life of its competitive scene is a caster/spectator mode. This seems inconsequential to most, but this would give the main broadcast so much value. It would raise the skill gap of casters, be able to provide actual insight for the information given. You could break down rotations, where teams land, what teams fight we'll potentially see, and prep observers for those fights, etc. Do we see what I'm trying to get to? You have to get viewers that want to watch the event. The question always was, how do you get people to watch the main event? Activision has to provide a caster slash spectator mode. What this would do, it would be something that actually sets the main broadcast apart from watching an individual streamer. If you're watching Iceman Isaac, one of the GOATs in the community, fantastic player and just like the nicest guy, and provides a lot of entertainment value, you're watching him compete. You want to watch him compete, and you're going to stay on his broadcast. That's totally fine. But what's something that the main broadcast actually provides, if they have a caster spectator mode, is that we can go overhead of all of the players competing and see an entirety of the landscape of each individual map. When we have that information, right, the casters can actually provide value to the viewers, because the viewers have no idea where everybody is unless they go through everyone's streams and they go, okay, I'm putting together all the pieces, blah, 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 blah. Like, you have to go demon mode on it to figure out where everybody is. But if the casters can provide that value, and it would raise the skill gap of casters would actually have to like use their brains when they're casting rather than just have conversations, which I try to do every single time. You can actually provide value on, hey, what type of rotations are we going to be making here? Hey, the observers, which are the people actually like changing the viewpoint for the casters, could say, okay, we got team, and this is another, I mean, we're getting an even higher level here. You look at Apex. Anybody watch ALGS? Fortnite did this. Yes, Fortnite 100% did this. You know that like floating orb view where you could see the different teams fighting and like the buildings like going up and you're like watching the fight, so you can see the people below, the people on top. That's what we need for Warzone, because it would provide value for the viewers. I would be able to look down on the map and say, okay, we've got team TSM, we've got team FaZe, we've got team NYSL, we've got team Omit, right? Hey, Walrus with a 5. Thank you so much, Walrus. I appreciate it. You have all these teams around, right? You've got the players, of course, and I can mention all the players on each of these teams that are around, but the teams are up and we can see, hey, there's a team in Superstore, there's a team on the hotel outside of Superstore watching the top, we're floating above, we can see the two teams rotating, right? We see another team that's maybe over in hangars and they're starting to rotate over to Superstore. Well, the observers in a traditional tournament, if they're extremely what I will call experience, can maybe provide the casters that insight right now over the course of like 2 minutes. They can go to one point of view, go to the next point of view, go to the next point of view, right? And they can showcase that, and then a good caster can recognize where these teams are at and recognize, okay, these teams are about to fight. And that's what I try to do every single time I'm on the main broadcast, is provide value to the viewers. The problem is no one expects value when they go into the main broadcast. No one. There's nobody that says, oh, I'm gonna go to the main broadcast and learn a lot today. So as much as I want to provide that, if there's no expectation that I'm providing value, doesn't matter how well I do up on the caster booth of providing value, no one's going to see it or care because they're not expecting value when they tune into the main broadcast. And so if they give us a spectator slash caster mode, the main broadcast will be extraordinarily more popular because of the amount of value he can provide the viewer in the overall experience of the event. And this is a simple concept. COD multiplayer does it. Fortnite does it. Even Apex Legend does it, who doesn't even have its own custom UI. They have to like whitelist everybody and put them into their own server. Like even ALGS has it. We don't have it in Warzone, even though it's one of the most popular games of all time in the Battle Royale category. And we've been having hundreds of thousands of dollars poured into it in the tournament scene. We don't have a caster mode? What are we doing? We don't even have an in-game leaderboard. So everybody's having to manually report their scores like this is a $200 sub-tournament for Grandmaster Gojj. And this is where the problem it really is held. This is what's breaking down all of our issues in the Warzone tournament scene, is that the main broadcast can provide little to zero value, and the expectation of value in the Warzone tournament scene on the main broadcast is quite literally zero. Most of the time, because they have casters in Warzone, people that maybe have never casted before, or maybe they've casted before and they're great casters, but they don't know Warzone. Hint, hint, wink, wink. We've seen this a lot in the Warzone tournament scene, right? These casters that step on stage and have no idea what they're talking about. And there's no shade at anybody, because there's some incredible casters out there. And I'm not saying I'm the best, but what I am saying is there's people getting up on stage that don't know anything, and people have seen that more oftentimes than not. And the main broadcast, no matter how good the casters are, can provide little to no value unless you're trying to learn the game or learn what guns people are using. Now no one tunes into the main broadcast. And so all of the marketing dollars that get spent on Warzone tournaments are for nothing if not executed correctly. Okay, now how do you execute correctly?